Thank you so much for having me back. I don't know how long I've been coming here, but I don't know. I think it's 15 years or something like that. It's been a long time, so it's just always great to be with y'all. And I love what you did to the place. Since it seems like that's new since the last time I was here. But okay, well, you light workers, you. So somebody came to the back and asked just a few minutes ago, sort of a request of what to talk about today, so that'll be the direction we go. What? You didn't know I took requests, huh? So, to begin with, I want to reiterate something that's very important. The world, the pop world, the pop new age world, the pop spirituality world went in this direction, and too often people are, just open to the next ridiculous thing that comes out. And it's just strange. People they'll settle for anything at times. And so this thing comes out and tells you how important your thinking is. And it is important, but it is not the most important thing, because it's your beliefs that decide what you think. So it isn't your thinking. Your thinking are kind of like the engines, but what you believe is the person that decides whether to start the car or not in the first place, start the engine or not in the first place. Who am I? Where am I going? And yeah, the thinking fires it up. The thinking's that electronic. It's the starter, it's the electricity, it's the fuel. It goes. Yeah, that's true. Emotions also add to the fuel, but it's our beliefs. At the end of the day, it's our beliefs. So since the beginning of time, when we were created to be, and still remain, by the way, but we were created to be one with God, made in the image of God. Somewhere in there, we decided to believe that we were anything but one with God. That's it. Now, at that very moment, we could have said, oops, and been done. That's the chant everybody has to learn. It's not Om Mani Padme Hum. It's not Boom Shakalaka Boom. It's just oops. That's it. You mess up, just go oops. And if you need prayer beyond oops, add my bad. That's it. Be done. Be done. Oops. Okay. Well, what was I thinking? And get a divorce. No. But oops, what was I thinking? Get up, and then get up and move. Crucifixion is the oops. It's dang. What was I thinking to crucify myself? I just made a mistake. I didn't have to stay married to it forever. I didn't have to allow it forever. I didn't have to stay an addict forever. Oops. Oops could be said, that's that moment you reach bottom. Oops shouldn't be replaced with, I'm unworthy. I'm a lowlife. I can't bounce back. Who would want me now? Etc., etc. Those are all mantras that did not come from God. And so we recite mantras. We do. We're always praying, in the sense that every word is a prayer. And we're always praying. So when we say, nobody wants me now, the universe says, okay, and so it is. Just sits there saying, hold on, everyone. A holy child of God, made in God's image, is about to pray. Everybody, shh. And we go, nobody would ever want me now. They all look at each other and go, together, please. And so it is, All these angels and powerful beings, they're like, and there are beings that are new to your angelic guide council team, and they're like, what was that? They go, they do this all the time. We don't know. Then why don't we say, and so it isn't? There's this free will thing. God divvied out this whole free will thing from the beginning. They've been in trouble ever since. I'm not a comedian or anything, I swear. This is all very serious. And we decided to believe we're something that we're not. I mean, it's horrible to believe that we're something unholy. And we come to earth and we take it out on each other. You're not very holy, you're not very this, and oh, you fell off the wagon, and And all we're doing is projecting our own insecurities, our own issues. And it's happened since the beginning. You know, I mean, the metaphor of Adam and Eve from the beginning, who are we? Holy children of God. And you can have everything that God is. Just don't eat from the one tree. And we're like, what tree? Don't eat from the one tree because you shall surely die. But where is the tree? We're not going to eat from it. We just want to know where it is so that we don't eat from it. And this is the human ego. It's the human ego. You can have God and be one with God and inherit all that God is, love, peace, joy, eternally. And is that where's the tree? And the tree is called the tree of knowledge of good and evil because it's the tree of judgment. So we decided to bite from the apple that taught us to become judgmental. So if we would have thought we were separate from God and said, oops, we would reverse it and be done. Because we have always been forgiven in the very moment that we fall. Every moment that we fall. It's already forgiven because it's a done deal, because you're too holy. The law of grace doesn't come to people who beg enough. The law of grace comes to people who accept the grace that was given when you were created. God said, let there be light. God never said, let there be dysfunctional people. Let there be messes, let there be codependence. Just let there be light, and we're that light. All we ever do is keep forgetting that we're that thing and then surrendering to it. So the law of grace isn't like, God, if only, the law of grace be bestowed upon me. The law of grace comes when we accept who we really are. It's actually not a secret. There's not a secret code to getting it. It's just the acceptance. Oh, bloody hell, is that all I had to do? Okay. Thank God it's all been easy all along. Oh, but no. We had to develop churches and places to make us feel shameful, and parents. Oh, man, you've done naughty, Go to your room. Okay, now I'm naughty. The old proverbial dunce cap, sit in the corner, and I'm just shamed. Shame on you. Okay, shame on you. I'm going to put judgment on you, and we accept it. We mess up and we have to own it and say, oops, because Adam could have said, oops. He didn't. He said, she made me. Eve could have shown, hey, it's time for the goddess. Women are superior. And she said, the serpent made me do it. And the serpent's, well, me. Serpent's the only one that took responsibility. Well, yeah, it's me, all right. The other two, the humans wouldn't. They refused to take responsibility. So they have children. And, well, why not? So, So they had children. And one of them is a vegetarian, and one of them's a meat eater, and one of them kills the other. And everybody always thinks it's the meat eater that killed the vegetarian. But no, it was actually the vegetarian that killed the meat eater. But don't get me started on that. So they still all the time, killing him verbally. But, oh, you still eat meat, I see. Mm-hmm. Like there's something sinful and horrible about it. But there again, the children, just like the parents, one has to kill the other. One has to blame the other. One has to feel insecure. But it's their insecurity that caused it. I think God might like that brother more than me. So what I have to do is eliminate the competition and kill the other one. Now, done, gone. Everybody runs from the light. Everybody tries to avoid the truth. And they do it in audiences. They do it in teachings, the level of teachings we could all attract into our lives. We do it through addictions and so on and so on. So, these brothers, they do this. And then their descendants do it. All the way down. Jacob and competitions with the children of Israel, the 12 tribes, the 12 brothers. Constant competition. It becomes religions competing. Politics and nations competing. It never ended. And the only way it can end is coming back to our identity. We gave up our birthright. There are brothers throughout history. Abraham bestows a birthright, and there's two brothers, and then those two brothers, same mistake, passed down and down. And in a nutshell, it's they gave up their birthright. That's what they called it in terms of wealth and gifts of, birthrights being bestowed. You'll be wealthy. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you that. There's this beautiful blessing that was practiced in those days more so than now. But the metaphor is the birthright. And the birthright is not stuff, it's consciousness. So anytime a brother fought with another for a birthright, the one that realized it was about consciousness is the one that was at peace. And sometimes they had to wait for the birthright to kick in. Patience, tolerance. Because if it just kicks in, you don't know if you really have it viscerally. You don't know if you really integrate. You could say, it's all about divine birthright. And people go, you mean money? The brothers along the heritage, the lineage and the history that said it's about the money and stuff are the ones that end up getting nothing except material for a moment. All these brothers are what we call today addicts. And everybody is an addict. It's not a drinking thing. Everybody's an addict. Well, not me. I don't do drugs or alcohol. Have you been born twice? If you've come to earth twice, you're addicted to this place. You've come back. No, it's different. It's different. Because when I came to earth, I'm trying to accomplish something. I'm trying to wake up. I'm trying to feel better about myself. Good description of an addict. Because that's exactly what an addict does. I'm going to try to feel better in a way that's unsuccessful. Yeah, Now the addicts can go home and call all their friends that aren't addicts and go, yeah, let me tell you something. You're just like me. We're all in this together. We all forgot who we were, and we're trying to cope with that. Coping doesn't work. You can't numb it. You can't stimulate it. It doesn't work. If I eat, I won't feel as much pain. That's an addiction because you're trying to unsuccessfully cope with something. What is the ultimate thing we're trying to cope with? Well, my parents abused or someone neglected me, my partner cheated on, etc. Those are the symptoms. Ultimately, it traces back to the beginning of time when the children of God forgot who they were. Now, all the other people on the planet, all they did was treat you accordingly. The more we know who we are, you might still have an abuse for a moment or two, but people start to realize you're here. You're a force to be reckoned with. They can't do that twice to you. Because you're like, even if you do that, I get it now. I'm not here to do that twice to me. I'm not into that. I'm not interested. So children of God get back their birthright, which means your divine inheritance, which means your awareness of who you are. If people know who they are, they do not abuse you. That's why you can say to people who have harmed you, forgive them, they know not what they do. It doesn't mean you have to pretend it didn't happen or pretend that you're all okay about it. You can cry, you can scream into a pillow, you can do all the therapies around it. That's fine. But don't forget, the truth is, they could not have done anything if they knew who they were. So you can curse them, but if you curse them for doing what they've done, you go to hell, jail with them. Because psychologically, we have this belief. If I judge you, I don't want you getting off the hook. So I'm going to stay close to you to make sure nobody lets you off the hook. Close to you means I'm going to keep incarnating with people like you or you to make sure that you're never let off the hook. If I free myself from the addiction, the problem, the challenge, you might get out. You might get off scot-free, and I'm not going to have that. But, and that's understandable, it is, for hurt people, isn't it? But do I want to still be a hurt person? No, not really. You can. You can have oneness with God or hurt people vibration. Oneness with God or you chose the wrong door. Door number 2, Monty. Well, you could have had peace forever, but tell them what they're going to get. Well, we have a beautiful parting gift for you, hell. Relationships that just never go well. And, On and on. And it just keeps happening. And again, it's addiction. We can pretend that a drink or a drug, a heavy drug is an addiction, but not another thing. It's all addiction because we're all trying to cope with things and we don't do it successfully. There's only one way to deal with it successfully, remembering who we are. Okay, fine. How do I do that? I'm Om Mani Padme Ing. I'm Boom Shakalaka Ing. I read labels, on cans before I eat. The can labels aren't going to do anything for you except strain your eyes. Might make you open your third eye so you can read them, The cans aren't going to do anything for you. It all is a symbol. That's all it is. The cans can't do anything. And all the other stuff we do to reach enlightenment can't actually do it. It can only improve our circumstance a little bit, which is good, by the way. The only thing that can actually do it is God, which has now become an old-fashioned term. So we try to make old-fashioned and, just without value to us anymore, God, God, I believe in God. We forgot, which is why in your 12-step program, which is for everyone on the planet, remember the humility, the surrender to God, because God, it's not just a thing for 12-steppers. It's for everyone to go back to realize God is the only one that remembers itself. We forgot. So if we surrender to God, we're surrendering to the part of us that remembers, which is a good idea. I don't have to figure it out. I don't have to navigate my own enlightenment. Course in Miracles explains God takes the last step. You're not even capable of getting yourself home. You can only prepare yourself a bit. Then God will take the final step. And that's those moments that seems miraculous and grace and all that. But God is just as much celebrating the effort you made to keep yourself clean as much as it's celebrating that you get to receive all its blessings. God's been waiting forever for us to accept that. And when we say, well, we're almost there, I got a little more of this, and I got to read a little more and process a little more, it's like fine. God, the angels, all the beings, masters, ascended masters, they're all fine. They're like, hey, whatever they want to believe, let them, that's fine. And so, but at the same time, are you really integrating what you're studying? Because if you're not studying, you're stalling. I just have to do meditations for 20 more lifetimes, and I know I'm going to be there. Well, let me tell you, it only takes one meditation, so who's got the problem here? You're stalling. Everybody's stalling because we think we're flawed and we're afraid to walk to the light of God and say, here I am. Please don't look. Why not? Not. Because I'm naked. Uh-oh. Dang. I thought for sure my clothes were going to make it with me on this trip. I'm naked. So you don't want to see me, Lord. And that's what Adam and Eve did, and it was a metaphor. Hello, Adam, Eve, where are you? Oh, we're just happen to be hiding over here. Why are you hiding? Because we're naked. God didn't say, oh, you're kidding. It ain't good, man. It is not good. Thank yourselves I haven't created mirrors yet. I wouldn't stand by any, still ponds anytime soon, especially since you guys are 300 years old. But that's not how it goes down, right? God didn't say that. God said, who told you you were naked? Now think about this. Who told you you were naked? We're naked. We bit from the apple and we now judge. We're naked. Who told you that? So now, what if you took a drink once in your life? What if you were molested, or what if you have caused harm to others? Stop and say, here I am, naked and all. Here I am with my flaws. And you're not going to hear, how dare you. You're going to only hear, who told you that? Who told you you were a flawed being? Well, I did some naughty things. Why did you do those things? God would therapy you. Why did you do those things? Well, because my mother, no. That's fine with the mother, this and father, and I get all that. Tell me more. And then there's past lives, Lord. Oh my God. All kinds of stuff from past lives. And then genetically, I have this predisposition towards temper, whatever illnesses, and God's like, keep going. Track it. And you're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper until you say, I forgot who I was. The only way I can harm another person ever, I could have ever harmed another person, See, in karma, what we say is, you've harmed me, so I'm going to come back and get you, and then we'll be even. You're never even. Because and karma will tell you that, reincarnation will tell you that. We're even now, right? Because you harmed me and I harmed you? No. You know why? Because I harmed you, you harmed me, we do it back, and now we're even? No. Because I still feel bad about harming you. So I'm still up creek. It doesn't matter that we're square in terms of action for action, feelings. My feelings of inadequacy are still going to fate me towards something. But you and I are square. So that means you don't have to show up when I come back to deal with my guilt. Somebody else goes, oh, I'll do that. Oh, okay. I don't know you, but how to meet you? Victimizer, nice to meet you. Okay, we'll see you next time. And we still hook up with dysfunction. And this is what we do in life, constantly. And people still trying to figure it out. And it is not a specific addiction. It's a funny thing, when you think about John the Baptist, no drinking. No drinking. I'm going to abstain. He's not the one that became Christ. Christ comes in, give me some drink, man. He says to John, I was going to do this whole clean, sober thing for life, show myself to be, worthy of being Christ. But these people, oh my God, give me a drink. John's like, wait till they crucify you. Then you're gonna, and this is not the most irreverent I've ever been, but it's close. We're right there. Yeah. It's kind of funny because you picture, they go and, dip this sponge, and they go to give to Jesus, because it'll help kind of numb him a little bit perhaps, give him a little drink, and Jesus, they put it to his mouth so he can have a little shot of something, He turns away and you just picture going, I'm in recovery, No, man, I'm in the program. Well, you never know. I could start telling people that's in the lost books of the Bible, and they'll go, oh, okay. It's in the Gnostic Gospels, I'm in recovery. And so the birthright, and we screw up, we do. The birthright, some of us, we try to, remember in the program, you're going to hear consistently that there's an arrogance that we underestimate. There's a self-servingness that we underestimate. And 12-steppers are being told that. Spiritual people are not. And religious people are not being told that. They're missing a very fundamental piece to spiritual awakening. And it's criminal practically. Because you're missing this piece. You're not being told. Instead of like you're a sinner. No, you're not a sinner. You're just self-serving. There's a difference. One is I'm fated to bad. The other is, I need to look at this. I can do something about this. I have this tendency. I mean, there's one of the apostles, and you'll hear the apostles, you'll hear Paul. They say things like, it's a funny thing. The good things I should be doing are the things I don't do, and the things I should be avoiding, those are the things I tend to do. That is somebody in recovery. That's somebody going, I got to tell you, man. I'm into this whole Christy kind of thing and teaching and healing, and I can raise people from the dead. I can cast demons out of people, but dang, isn't it still true that I have this tendency? Just owning it is a major step. And I can't do this alone. That's for all people, not just in 12-step groups. All people. I've got this thing. It's a funny thing, God and Michael, saying to ourselves, I got this funny tendency. What is it? I know what's best. I'm made in the image of God. And yet I keep forgetting. How do I know I'm forgetting? Anytime I attract harm, anytime I do harm. Anytime I think of myself in competition with someone else. You go to get on a plane, well, we have one seat for an upgrade to first class. Oh, it's me. I deserve it. And that's that self-serving. That's why being of service helps counter that karmically, but also consciousness changes when we learn to be of service. How can I help today? Not what can I get today? How can I help today? And there's all these spiritual teachers, they call themselves, on the circuit, talking about how much they've accomplished, how much they made. Well, I'm a great spiritual teacher and I'm a great prosperity teacher. How do you know that? Because of how much I have. I have 5 houses. I've got 3 boats. People are like, I want to be like you. And I would, on the other hand, go, oh, I'm so sorry for you. You forgot to give. Because for every 5 houses, give 1 away. For every 3 boats, give 1 away. For every million, give a portion away. Keep giving so that you're putting that ego in check and saying, I do not come first. I do not even know who I am until I recognize the worthiness in others because they're me. If I reject others of abundance, I'm rejecting me. When Abraham is going through what he's going through with his sons, when his sons are going through what they're going through, they're all going through a metaphor. That's all it is. When Cain slays Abel and he hears a voice, what have you done? His blood cries to me from the earth, what have you done? He's not hearing God saying, shame on you. He's hearing something that mankind is first now learning and developing, conscience. The voice of God was now becoming his own inner voice. They used to be able to commune with God directly and hear a spiritual voice. But that voice is only love. When he fell and judged himself for what he's done, he can no longer hear God directly anymore. He hears his version of God. People write books about conversations, dialogues with God. It's never God, it's just God in their own head. It's their version of God. That's why you're going to find discrepancies between this person's dialogues with the Lord and this person's dialogues with the Lord, because it's still coming through our filters. And everybody's got it. It's not something you just read in a book that somebody wrote, a dialogue with the Lord. It's you. You have that same voice, but we all have these filters. And some of us have put up so many filters, we barely hear anything anymore, or think we can only hear it when someone else wrote about it. And then we praise them and wow, it's a metaphor. If you like anything I'm saying today or any other teacher, technically you're hearing the voice of God channeled through somebody to the best of their ability at the moment. But if you really open your mind, you're having a dialogue with God that you created. You must be deserving. And if you don't like anything you heard, you're having a dialogue with something else but God. Because God would not be hateful or hurtful, judgmental. You might say, well, it was a fine thing, but I just didn't get much out of it, and it's not for me, and that's cool. Neutral, no love, no judgment, no hate, just done. Nothing, don't worry about it. That's fine. You can say, I'm good. You can give me a book, and it doesn't mean I'm bad just because I say, well, it doesn't seem like it's my thing. But when you see something, feel something that feels different, a person, their vibe, their words, whatever it happens to be, a book, couldn't it be that we're creating something different today? Couldn't it be that, instead of worshiping the teacher or the book, couldn't it be I have raised my level of deservability? Don't drag yourself to a 12-step program. It's a metaphor. I decided to not be sick anymore. It's me. I'm the one. Well, no, it's actually court-ordered. Well, you still went through the judge and got yourself there. The judge is still a part of you. The judge is part of you that says, dude, you are out of control. You could have done this the easy way. Well, what do you mean? I don't know what easy. Well, remember the other 55 times people said, why don't you come with me to the group? Oh, no, I don't need that. And then again, no, not me. The owning, the taking the humble step to say, man, I can see. Even if I'm a decent person, I can still be self-serving at times. Just watch. Just look. Anytime you think that you or anyone else is unworthy of being a perfect child of God and deserving of all the gifts that come with that birthright, you're still being judgmental and you need a program. And it starts with ourselves, of course. It's not just the gifting to other people. We have to look at ourselves. What in me is still hurt? What in me still thinks I'm flawed? How do I know? Because you just look at your life. Like we'll talk about that in the workshop later today. But you look at your life and you say, where are things off? And don't think that if your life on a 0 to 10 scale is a 5, that's excusable. Well, as long as I'm not suffering too much. No, man. Why aren't you a 7, an 8, a 9? Why aren't you up here? Why are you a 5? That's called getting by. Some people don't even question life when they're a 3. And when you're a 3 and you're not questioning, you're going to want to reach out to food and anything else that will numb you because it hurts. You're not a bad person. God's not going, oh, cigarettes, are you kidding me? God doesn't do any of that. God in us is saying, seriously? Really? No other option today? No? Okay, go ahead. And that's okay. But someday, we're allowed to say, not today. Today I'm going to choose a different voice in my mind other than the one that says, I'm so depressed, let me get some ice cream. Or I'm so this, let me get that. Or I'm so this, let me numb. I'm so that, let me stimulate. None of it's going to work anyway. So why mess with it anymore? Now that's the challenging part. Because in my life, I hear that voice. I'm aware of that voice. I think that's one reason I'm a spiritual teacher, is because I don't numb that voice. I'm actually very tuned into that voice. Not saying I'm better than anyone else, because we all have that voice. The downside can be, because I hear that voice in my life, I've been a little hard on myself sometimes, because I know what I could be doing. See, some of us are like, no, I don't even know any better, because we go so numb. I'm like fully aware. I know exactly what I could be thinking, saying, and sometimes I'm like, I'm not in the mood. I'm just not in the mood to be all peaceful today. Leave me alone, you know? And then, usually after a minute or two, I think it's kind of funny that I said that, and then you get over it quicker because you're so honest in a light way. Just try that. Just try that, tantrum, spiritual tantrum. It's almost impossible to not laugh because it's kind of hilarious. It's kind of ridiculous. And so it's okay. You let yourself off the hook that way. So find ways. For me, it's an interesting thing because I found, Abraham did this a little bit, but Abraham was like, okay, God told me, I'm going to use metaphor, but God told me I'm needing to commit to my spiritual path. The chosen one, Abraham. He was chosen to be starting a new lineage. But remember, Abraham had to leave his home. He had to leave a lot of the things behind that were once his old life, like any other addict or human. Sometimes you got to divorce the old stuff and clear it off and get your new life. Funny thing about Abraham, though, he's like, well, if we're going to be leaving the old life, we should collect some things to take with us. Which means he didn't fully surrender to the program. That's like going to 12-step group and having a bottle in your purse. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, I'm totally here, Lord. No, I swear. Cross some fingers, and hide them. But it's okay because God says, isn't it funny? You guys could have everything, but you hedge. You say prosperity. You say you believe in tithing, but you hold back a little. You say you believe in love and service, but yet you didn't help that person that came your way. And I'm not saying you shouldn't practice discretion of what to do and when. You definitely should. Discernment and maintaining your own healthy boundaries and all that. I'm saying that even these patriarchs and matriarchs of the Bible show their human foibles, their human issues, the snags, I call it. The little moments where it's happening and something catches, something snags. Those things are worth looking at, going, what was that? I was like, yes, I believe it, and then I hedged. I believe in love and forgiveness, not that person. I believe in love and forgiveness, no, not that one. Tomorrow I might work on that, and that's okay. It's totally okay. As A Course in Miracles says, you get to choose when. But don't forget, it says before that, it's inevitable. You get to choose when. Now the only question is then why wait? And that's where I get into trouble. Because I'm like, let's go. Let's go. And I find that there's sometimes a challenge for me personally saying, with the world around me, students, colleagues, or whatever it happens to be, let's go. And there's, a little bit of holding back. And I can feel that frustration. Because even if you're really committed and say, time for awakening, time for enlightenment, let's go. Not everybody around us is always there and wanting to do that. And there's lessons in that too, called patience and tolerance and so on. Jesus had to accept. Apostles, yes, we're totally into this, Jesus. We've seen you raise people from the dead. We're totally with you. And in my life, I've had that moment a couple times where, like Jesus with the apostles saying, this is pretty cool. I've got some dedicated apostles and disciples surrounding me. Now, in Jesus' shoes, in my life, when I've had friends that seemed faithful and loving and supportive and became Judases and who betray you, Peter who denies you, it's very easy to go, I'm dying. I felt moments in my life, if a partnership ended a billion years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it was, or friends that they act like they're there and they're not. I have still allowed myself to die a little in those moments. And that's not yet attaining Christ consciousness. Christ did this instead. He didn't, after all I've done for you guys. He didn't sit in the garden and go, oh, really? Y'all gonna just go to sleep, huh? Leave me alone in this. He had the temptation. Really? He said, can none of you stay awake? Because that's the human part leaking through. But he says to Judas, hey, you know that betrayal you're about to do? Because I'm a little psychic. I'm on to that, so go ahead, go do it. And Judas is like, what? What do you mean? Come on, dude, go. How many of us can say to our partners, you know that thing you're doing? Let's just be done. We try to fight to keep some of these things alive. Money things and whatever else. It's like, seriously, let's just, you know you're doing this. And in the stories of the Bible, the brothers fight over these things. It's kind of nice when you learn to be the Christ and say, okay. I'm not saying get stomped on because that's bad for them and you. But I'm saying, even if you seemingly fight for something that seems right, you have to watch for attachments in the fight. Because even if I step up and say that's not going to happen anymore, if I'm attached to winning that fight, that's where my mess is the attachment. So I've been able to say, I see some friends are going that direction. Okay, see you guys. Well, no, let us explain. I don't need you to explain. Go ahead. It's already done. Yeah, but we're going to defend it. No, I don't need you to defend either. Just go. Judas, go. Peter, you're going to deny me. I would never. Come on, dude. Talk to the hand. Seriously. You know, you're going to do it. I would never, Lord. No, but you're going to. I would never. 3 times. And it's quite amazing because later on, he hears, because he tells him, you know, when the rooster crows 3 times, you're going to deny me. And you'll deny me 3 times. Right? So what did Jesus do? You know, Peter, you're going to deny me. No, I won't. Peter, you're going to deny me. No, I won't. Well, how many times? Why did he do it 3 times? Because he was pre-forgiving him. Before Peter even did the betrayals, the denials, he walked him through. You're going to do this. No, I'm not. You're going to do this. No, I'm not. You're going to, because he was already going, then I forgive you once, I forgive you twice, and I'm forgiving you 3 times. We're good. And when he finally says to Peter at the end of that conversation, Peter, it's okay. And now the typical human's going to tell you, well, fine, but if I do, it's because you. And they're going to turn it on you. Hold your center, guys. Whatever the reason, I don't need to know. Judas, just go. It's all right, just go. Because we have to have a moment to get back and breathe and go, that kind of hurt. Because it does, humanly. But God be with me. He says to Peter, Peter, I've already forgiven you, and I've already seen your future. I've already seen you as done, healed. I'm already looking forward ahead as to the you that's forgiven rather than the you who's done this. And that's what we all have to do to all people at some point. We can take our time to get there, but let's be honest about it. If we're going to say this is going to take me 5 lifetimes, just own it. This could happen right now, but I'm not in the mood. I'm going to hold this against you for 5 lifetimes. And even if you let me go, I'm going to drag some poor soul into this karma with me and act this out because I'm ticked off. You're allowed to be ticked. You're allowed to be hurt. You're allowed to be scared because that's human condition. As long as you accept that that's all you're asking for today. And that's what some of the children in these birthright stories did. I just want material, says one brother. The other says, I want to know God. And every time that happened, the guy that wanted the material, like your brothers and sisters that betray you and deny you during last will and testaments and parent fightings and all that, they want the stuff, they're often going to get it. But that's all they'll get. And the one that stays faithful to what they want in consciousness is going to get that. They're going to get that. And with consciousness comes everything else. But the universe has to adjust itself to bring that to you. Because the universe is so used to people not accepting their divine birthright, it doesn't have that lined up right away, believe it or not. The universe is going, hold it a second. Hold the fort. Somebody is accepting their divinity. Oh, heck, we had everything lined up for the normal stuff. We were like going to send you, somebody with tissue. We figured that's all you were going to want today is more crying and more tissue. Dang, and legal documents. So, whoa, hold the fort, and then the universe has to rotate all these gears to bring and arrange your good karma for making right decisions. It's quite beautiful. But it does sometimes take time for good to happen. Bad can be very instant in karma. And good things come quickly too. But I'm just saying, don't be too shocked when sometimes you've made righteous decisions and it takes time for the gears to come your way. Because most of our thoughts and decisions don't believe that this can happen. Oh, I do. You don't. I do. Shh. Just stop, Peter. Okay? 3 times. Do we have to do this 3 times? Seriously? Own it. Apparently, there's a part of me that doesn't believe it so much that as soon as I say snap, it comes pouring onto me. Just believe that that's a possibility. Because the outside reflects the inside. And if my good's going to take a day and a half or a year and a half, it's just my own beliefs. That's all it is. So go ahead and, if you want it faster, speed your beliefs up. Get in a more alignment. That's what affirmations are for. That's why you have chaplains to do prayer with you. Do you sit down with them, or do you just leave complaining again? Get some prayer, get some shifting, get some healing. Get right in consciousness. That's what righteousness means, right consciousness. Get in alignment. No more settling. I don't need that anymore. It's not who I am. And the temptation to die a little when people do things, it's normal. But how much are you going to die and for how long? Are you going to stay on the cross or in the tomb? And so for me, it's a couple times I've gone through that kind of a thing where it's like, wow, the struggle to go, why can't this all catch up? And let's go. Or friendships or whatever it happens to be. Okay, sometimes those friends are met when you're at this level, or those behaviors are met when you're at this level, or those family members are created when you're at this level, and you shift levels. Sometimes they're not going to make the transition with you. So when those losses happen, are they supposed to be killing us? No. We're just going. We're just ascending today. And some of those people and things won't go. And there have been times in my life when I felt bummed that they didn't go with me. But that's my own neediness to watch. Because it's lonely at the top, so to speak. You go, wow, I thought, everybody was, no. If they're not there, then apparently they weren't going to make the transition. And that's how it happens. Sometimes, even when you're an enlightened person, you're still going to die. Because even though you're enlightened and you're ready to go to a new spiritual level of consciousness, sometimes your body is not going to make it with you. So you don't even judge when you're sick or you die. You just go, wow, sorry about that, guy. Body. Apparently you have an illness that couldn't heal quickly enough to catch up, where we could just turn our body to light. Do I care? No, because I'm in the light now. It's all right. So we can mourn those losses. When you're on the other side, you can look down and say, oh, I miss my body. You're probably not going to really say that for too long. You're going to be like, what body? I'm good. This feels amazing. I've got an e-ticket to love. This is kind of cool. You're not going to be like, oh, I wish I had that aging thing, that. And it's the same. We don't diss friends and family, but it's kind of the same where we can say, I'm a little bummed that my friends didn't make the transition. But what I need to do is mourn that loss, called crucifixion, and then ascend, rise, resurrect. And as I resurrect, I'm ready to ascend to a new level of consciousness. It's always good. It may not look like it, but it's always good. Let's take a moment to center, please. Okay? Set aside all the thoughts of the day, all the thoughts of the world. Take an honest look at yourself. Whatever happens or intuitively, spontaneously happens, let's let it happen. Imagine yourself in your least favorable image. When you were abused or when you were using your least favorite image of yourself. An image of yourself when you are at your worst, whether it's the worst of your doings or being done to you. Bring the image here today. Mid-divorce, afraid for your future, jobless, addict. Look at that image and just look at it honestly. And then be willing to say this from your heart and soul. Hello, and greet yourself by name quietly in your mind. I need to share my feelings about our life and our relationship. My relationship with you resulted in my keeping an image of you still in my mind today. When I think about you, I have to admit, and I've learned a lot of things and I've grown and I have happy thoughts too, but I have to admit, my image of you during that time, I see you as, and fill in the blank. Weak, a victim, fragile, abused, sad. I remember you. You were always tense or nauseous or anxious or name it. Just tell it everything. It's how I saw that time, that part of me. See yourself in that image. And if you try to over-spiritualize it and say, oh, no, I don't believe in that, then you're going into denial and you're hurting yourself again. Just full on for a minute. Cut loose and tell it the truth, because the it is a part of you. You were an addict. You were fooling around too much. You were irresponsible. Whatever it is, tell it. And I cannot become what God created me to be if I keep seeing you this way, because you're a part of me. So I can only rise as high as I am willing to thoroughly look at this part of myself and release this part. So this part that I'm looking at, I see this way, and it's affected my life. It's affected my health to this day, my partnerships to this day, my parenting or whatever else, my jobs, my finances. It's affecting me. How I see you is affecting me to this day. And that means I'm being haunted by the ghosts of Michael past or whomever we are. And it's time to let go of my old image of you. And in so doing, I'm letting go of everything that the image represents and what it's done to me. Undeservability and all these other things. So I'm going to let you go today, but I want you to know, it does not mean I'm actually rejecting you or harming you or betraying you. This image that I hold of you is not true. So I'm only letting go of something that's false and harmful. And it's right that I do so. So goodbye. And I want you to picture this, please. Visualize reaching to the top of your body and unzipping your body down your face to your navel. And then start peeling your body off, starting at the head. Peeling off your body, exposing a being of light underneath. Peel off the head, the neck, and the shoulders, and down each arm. Peel off the body of your past, the image, the addict, peel it off. Down the hips, down the legs, and emerge. Pull one leg out, the other leg, and just drop the past, drop the old image to the ground, and let it dissolve into the ground. Hear the Divine Mother through the Earth Mother saying, thank you. Thank you. And she absorbs it and turns it into light. And look at the image remaining. It's you. You're not solid. You're a being of light, sparkly and shimmering. Wow, it's so great to see you. It's so great to see this part of you. I almost forgot it was there. Beautiful. This part cannot be harmed or do harm. Fantastic. Oh, like an angel. Then breathe those sparkles of light in through your breath into your heart. Breathe it into your heart. And put a hand or two to your heart and hear the words, I can feel you. Honey, I can feel you. It's so great to connect with you at this level where we're both safe, loved, lovable. Oh my God, this is great because you could never struggle or have lack. You are prosperous, beautiful, a wonderful being. This part has to be. It's light. It's made in the image of God. And the you that I'm talking to is actually me. I am. As God created me, I will to be prosperity on earth. I am as God created me. I will to be the health of God on earth. I am as God created me. I will to be peaceful and loving. I am as God created me. I'm happy and deserving. Father, Mother God, I knew not what I was doing when I thought I was anything less. Help me to forgive myself as you have forgiven me, as easily, effortlessly. In this light, there's no debt, there's no karma. I am as God created me. I will to be the Christ on earth. And in so doing, in so being, I will the same for everyone else. And all the roles they played. Forgiven, for you knew not what you were doing. And I release all of you in the world, people I thought I liked and didn't like, all of you equally, to become who you really are in God. And in that, we're all released. And we're all home. And now I need but act like it. Treat myself like it. And from here on, every relationship needs to reflect more of this light rather than the old wounded self that I can easily resurrect and zip back on, but it just doesn't make any sense. Let my thoughts, words, and deeds, decisions all reflect someone who actually believes they have value. And so it is. Quietly keep your eyes closed for just a half a minute more, and we'll gently move into the next part of the service.